Anthony, how are you?
No, I'm good to see you again. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Actually excited to have you here, especially given what's going on in the world right now. Solutions like yours are the things people are looking for.
I totally agree. I think it's been a fascinating time to be a technology player here
Yeah.
because what we've seen is small businesses in our category, I think, have been fairly slow to adopt technology because what they do works. But especially in light of COVID, we've seen a groundswell of adoption for all sorts of technology products, but ours as well.
Yeah. Well, so far it sounds like we're talking about technology, but Anthony, this is actually talking about money.
That's right.
Yeah, we're talking about, and I'll let you do the intro here, but we're talking about we finally have a way to offer financing for people to buy their kitchen cabinets or countertops or whatever that might be, right?
Exactly. So, I can just kick it off. Yeah, I started a company called Hearth, Hearth, and what we focused on doing is giving all contractors the ability to offer monthly payment options to their customers when they're selling a job.
Hmm.
And so it makes sense if you go to buy any car, they offer you a monthly payment with it. But for contractors, especially small business contractors, uh, basically there's no solution for them. I think for the bigger players, there's some big box solutions like Green Sky or Synchrony. But when you're running your own company, usually at a smaller scale, which most of us are in this industry, up until Hearth came along, it was basically impossible to say, "Hey, we've got this $20,000 job for you. How about we quote it $220 a month?" And that's really what Hearth makes possible.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'll tell you one of the things that so a lot of my listeners get there's free downloads on my website, and one of the more popular ones is how to find and fix your 8 profit leaks. And lo and behold, one of the profit leaks is low sales. I mean, it just sounds like I'm the biggest genius in the world, right? Maybe you need more sales, but there's so many things holding back making those additional sales, and one of them is being able to keep it affordable and still get the deal. It has to make sense for me as the contractor. It has to make sense for you as the homeowner. And then we've got to get that deal done. So this is another option that I'd be putting on the table in front of a homeowner and to win that job for, like I said, kitchen cabinets or whatever it is they might be doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot of evidence of, that if you're able to offer financing with your bids, whether it be, on a new refrigerator or a car or a home improvement, you can see as much as 50 or 60% lift in your close rates. Because people are obviously a lot more inclined to take a monthly payment option than to be paying a lot of money out of pocket.
Yeah. Well, and you would look more professional to me. I would think, this is beyond writing a quote on the back of a business card and saying, yeah, your kitchen's going to be $23,000. This is a formal, real presentation. You look confident, professional. And if you look that way during the discussion part, I can only imagine you're going to do a great job on my woodwork.
Exactly.
So how does it work? I mean, so let's say I'm the contractor and I'm talking to the homeowner. What does the homeowner see in this offering? How does it work?
So let's say you're talking person to person at the kitchen table. Basically, what you'd say is, what a lot of contractors say, which we really advise them not to say, is, do you need financing? And most people just have a natural repulsive sort of reaction to that question, especially when they're just getting to know someone. So part of our sales training is to say, we've got about half of our customers who like to pay up front and half of them prefer monthly payments. Which bucket do you fall into?
Oh.
And let's say they say monthly payments. In that case, you could either send them a link, or if you're presenting with an iPad, you can open the Hearth app. And then the homeowner will go and fill out very basic information about themselves. It's about a 60-second form. And instantly, they'll be able to get back what monthly payment plans we can offer them through our 13 lenders. So one really important thing is really, as Hearth is a technology platform. And what we do is we're trying to bring as many lenders together to empower the contractor to close sales. And so today we have 13, which means we can close customers between 500 and 850 FICO on $1 to $100,000 jobs with terms of 2 to 12 years. So it's really comprehensive for as far as these credit products go.
So you mean when you say what was that price range of jobs? You can do $1,000 jobs?
Yeah, we can do 1,000 to 100,000. It doesn't have to be the full job either.
Oh, okay. So if it's maybe, because the people listening to this have all range of cabinetry companies. Some are doing zero, they're thinking about starting their own company, so they're listening. But more often they've got 5 people in the shop, 3 people in the shop, and then there's a whole slew of people that are, around $1 million, 3 million, 5 million. But some guys are still doing built-ins. Like they're building up their base. They're doing vanities and built-ins, and they might not have had the option to do financing in front of a client. That's great. So there's really no limit then. $40,000 dream kitchen, $5,000 vanity. You guys are comfortable with looking at all those.
Yeah, and one of the things that that I think is pretty unique is that you can also send this application form when you're not in the home. So let's say that you have a bunch of customer information as leads. You can send them a link if they're interested in financing, and then they can go in, put in their information. They'll see options if they qualify, and most people who apply through us for pre-qualification end up seeing options. And then you will actually be able to know how much they can pre-qualify for
Before I show
before you show up.
Oh, so if I already have an estimate in my hand, or I know ballpark, it's going to be 30 grand, all cash.
Mm-hmm.
I would know in advance whether that homeowner would be able to afford that either all cash or through financing.
Exactly, and I think if you have an extra $10,000 idea, that you'll be able to know what that's going to look like to the homeowner from a monthly payment point of view.
You know what, Anthony? I love that you said that, because one of the things we talk about is called increasing the average dollar sale. There's a simple formula, and it's a construction millionaire secret, is what it is. It's a secret that it's right in front of all of our faces. There's a customer formula, there's a revenue formula, and there's a profit formula. And the only way to tweak that formula is by looking at what you put into it, not by focusing on what comes out of it. So if people have questions on that, I'm actually writing a book on that, on how to increase average dollar sale, number of transactions, which bumps up your revenue. And it's so simple to do once you know the formula. Great. So I would be able then to go in and say, well, it's a $30,000 kitchen that I've laid out, but based on everything they've told me, we could actually get the other $5,000 in for $35,000 total sale, because I know that they qualify for that on financing.
Yeah, and you could say something like, oh, and it's only an extra $25 a month.
Right. Wow. So what's the, when the homeowner puts their data, their information in, are they choosing the terms, or what's their, do they get different options?
Yeah, so basically it works sort of like Expedia, in the sense that you put in your basic information, you put in the project cost, and then what we'll do is we'll sort of deal with all of that data, share it with our lenders. They'll do a soft pull on your credit, so it doesn't affect your credit. It's not a hard pull. This is so important. And then they'll return what they can qualify you for.
Mm.
And so, you have people who get 30, 40 options, and then you can also see options that are, obviously we show you the options that represent your project cost, but there are also options that we can surface for more or a little bit less. And then you can browse through and decide what the right credit product is for you.
Wow. Can you go back for a second? Sorry. Soft pull versus hard pull of my credit. This is a family show here, Anthony. You're going to have to explain.
So one of the most important things, obviously, to people who are looking for financing is what their credit score is, and we see how much that affects what people qualify for and what rates they get. And one of the challenges with looking for credit and browsing for it, if you're not 100% sure you're going to go forward with it, is that if you were to work with many of these other point of sale credit products, they do a hard pull on your credit. So, which means that they're looking at your full credit profile, and the consequence is that it dings your credit.
Oh, so it shows the credit reporting agency that, hey, this family keeps looking for credit,
which lowers your score if it's a hard pull.
That's a hard pull, but
yeah,
a soft pull.
So, for example, if you get rejected, then you run your application through, and your credit score goes down, and you don't have a credit product coming out the other end of that. So that's a very common occurrence. Whereas in our case, we focused it on soft pull, and what soft pull means is that you should think about it, instead of seeing your full credit document, the lenders are peeking at your credit document. And the consequence is that for some reason or another, that doesn't affect your credit score. But it's still enough to give you to pre-qualify you and give you a sense for what you will qualify for and ultimately could get.
Neat. So that's when they talk about FICO scores, right?
Exactly.
Right. So whatever score I have, the credit lenders know that's the interest rate that I'll get along with that.
More or less. I mean, one of the really fascinating things that I've seen in building this business that I did not expect is that somebody with the same credit profile will get really a wide variety of options, uh, from the various lenders. So in other words, holding everything about a person constant, income, credit, debt to income,
Mm.
and then running their application across 10 or 13 lenders, you see that if this person had gone to the most expensive lender instead of the least expensive lender, they would have ended up paying a lot more out of pocket. So it's not that efficient because each lender focuses on a slightly different, set of indexes. In
Right.
other words, they price you differently. So there's a lot of consumer benefit to checking across multiple lenders.
Wow. I didn't know any. I didn't know that that existed in the credit world that way. They adjust their interest rate based on my credit resume, I guess.
Well, so the thing is, it's all sorts of factors, and each one is slightly different. And so the consequence is, if you go and apply at 10 banks, you'll get 10 different, basically 10 different offers.
Yeah. Well, and I do know that at times banks are more willing to take on debt than other times. So they also change their criteria. They're saying, you know what, this month they have their own internal quotas, right? So they'll say, we're hungry for more deals. So they'll loosen their criteria a little bit, or they're saying, no, we're almost at our quota. So we're going to tighten the restrictions and only look at, company or people that meet a certain look. So
Just one quick note on that, since we're discussing it, and I think it's timely because through COVID, what we saw is a lot of lenders shut down. Right, so a lot of lenders either couldn't get the money themselves to lend out, or they weren't comfortable lending out in a context where there was so much uncertainty.
mm,
And part of the reason why I think we were able to attract so many customers through COVID is because we actually were originating at record levels through all of COVID, thanks to the fact that we have such a coverage of lenders. And so even though there were certain ones that slowed down, there were other ones that picked up and wanted to gain market share. And so this is always something to consider when thinking about a financing partner.
yeah, yeah. It's hard because financing it's like trying to fix the transmission on your car. Like you can open it up and you can look at it. I have no idea what's going on. And I would have zero idea how to put it back together. But you know that the whole thing works and all you have to do is understand shifting gears, thankfully.
Well, one of the key things that we've been doing that I think is so important is our biggest internal driver is make it dead simple. So we're not expecting people to become finance experts. I mean, we do create as much content as possible to support people and have them understand what's going on with financing and how to, where their expectations should be. But literally internally, we're always talking about how do we make it dead simple to offer financing, especially because a lot of the businesses we work with have never offered financing before.
The reason I found you is because I was looking for solutions for one of my clients. And they've just started with you, but I saw the testimonials on your website. The guy who did a skylight for $2,500.
That's right.
He just sounded like he was giggling when he wrote. And I wouldn't think a $2,500 skylight would require financing, but I guess if you put that in front of somebody, it's an option. They might take it.
Exactly.
And I do know that people are getting sick at looking at the four walls of their home.
That's for sure.
Or, and I have heard a couple stories of this where people are worried about if they're going to have to bring their extended family into their home, what kind of renos they might have to do. And, that has implications throughout the whole house. It's not just the kitchen, which we always like to talk about in this show, but it could be fixing the downstairs basement or bathroom down there or the vanities and things, to make it comfortable for somebody else in their family to move in. So suddenly cash starts to become, this isn't monopoly money. This is real money. We got to put a little bit here and we can do a little bit there. So if I come in and I offer financing, I'm part of the solution, not part of the problem.
Totally. I mean, I think another piece to that point is that, I think cash is still the main way people are paying for their projects. But especially with all the economic uncertainty, at least what we saw on our side is that even if people have the cash, they're going to want to turn it into a monthly payment because this isn't the time that they're looking to dip into their honeypot.
Yeah, you need to preserve. Right now, preserving cash. One of the things that happened with COVID that's probably good overall, I hate to say that because somebody's going to pull out that quote alone and they'll say, Dom said COVID was good. That's not what I'm saying. The thing that was good about this is when it hit, I saw so many business owners go back and look at their books and say, what are we paying for on a monthly basis that we can just clean up? And so people have done that, right? Now that business is back, people are buying again. People need services. They need goods. They need things. The purse strings are opening up on the homeowner side, which allows our business owners to make more sales if they position it right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Got to position it right. So tell me, you got any client success stories? Because I think we all like to hear stories of somebody who came to you and they used the product and here's what happened.
Well, we've got plenty of stories, and as I mentioned, I think I'm more than happy to share some testimonials with you after this, so you can circulate it. I mean, at a high level, one of the things that I'm proudest of is that the average customer who comes in to join our product makes back 10 times what they spend on it. So our subscription costs about $1,000 a year, and on average, a customer is winning at least one $10,000 job through offering financing. And today we have just under 10,000 contractors, and it's growing fairly quickly. So I think we've been able to replicate that success at scale, which is something I'm really excited about.
Yeah. Oh, I first started talking to you guys about 2 months ago, and it wasn't 10,000. You guys are growing very fast.
It is fast. I mean, but we actually control our growth, so we limit how many customers we bring on in a month, because we want to make sure that we're delivering a good experience for all the customers that are joining us.
Right. So aside from this trade, cabinetry, kitchen cabinets, countertops, what other trades do you deal with? Is it just kitchen cabinets that you guys help finance?
We finance everything. So, the way that our product works is that what you're really doing is you're turning a financing customer into a cash buyer, because the lenders are sending the money directly to the homeowner. And so as a consequence, we can really do any project, and you don't have to worry about completion certificates or some of these other things that I think exist with some of the more traditional financing companies. A lot of our customers who are doing things like roofs or windows or short time frame projects will just collect the money up front, or 80% up front, right when the customer gets financed.
So if I understand you right, you're not financing the work that's being done, the kitchen cabinets or the pool or the roof. You're actually financing the credit worthiness of the homeowner. So it doesn't matter what they do with, obviously they need to do something construction related, but you're
exactly
the homeowner, not the kitchen.
So the project doesn't matter. Yeah. So you should think about it as, the way that credit works, especially in the US, is there's 4 types of credit. There's credit cards, personal loans, home equity lines of credit, and second mortgages. And mortgages. And credit cards are the most expensive. 40% of homeowners are paying for their projects with credit cards. And it's by far the most expensive credit product. And so what we're doing is we're offering personal loans, which have no prepayment penalties, which are a fixed monthly payment, which can go up to a 12-year term, and you can get limits up to $100,000 versus being limited by whatever balance
card,
your bank set for you. And oftentimes it's at least 3 APR points lower than a credit card. That's the average. And so we're really financing your customer.
Interesting. So I just grabbed a couple things quickly. There's no prepayment penalty, so I can pay it off earlier if I want to. Fixed. So you said fixed payment?
Monthly payment.
If I'm going to pay $200 a month, it's just $200.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then it's up to $100K.
Exactly.
Not bad. Well, for all of you listening, I'm going to be running ads for Anthony here for Hearth on the podcast. So you'll be able to find out more information as we go, because I'm pretty excited about this. One of the challenges that we have here is we always have to look at the sales side, and it's just something in the industry is people get into this industry because they're good technically, they're good at making cabinets, they're good at they like the precision and the detail, and they love it when it comes together beautifully and the grains match. And I get that it's almost an art form in a lot of ways, but at the same time they have to run it like a business, and they didn't grow up wanting to be a salesperson. They didn't, they wanted to be a cabinet maker, or they wanted to do countertops and stonework. And so now they're moving into this new world of thinking about being a business owner, and anything we can do to help them do that better, faster, smarter, like offering financing to clients, it's got to be a leap forward. If you close 1 or 2 more deals a year, you're so much further ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why we're so focused on this return on investment figure that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Because our goal is, really that if a customer buys our product and uses it, they'll, be able to make their money back and change very quickly.
What's
and I would say, sorry?
I was going to ask you, what's the history? How did you come up with this idea and realize that this market needed it?
That's a very good question and a long story. I think the short version of the story is I was studying home improvement as a market. I went to Stanford, and then after that I got hired by an entrepreneur and investor out here who had been investing in technology companies, Joe Lonsdale, and Joe and I had been spending some time looking at home improvement as a market. And what I realized was that it was a pretty inefficient market in that there were a lot of unexpected big ticket expenses coming through, and that most people were putting these expenses on their credit card. And at the same time, what's been happening since 2013 is that so many financial products are going online. So online loans is a fairly new thing. About 5% of personal loans were done online in 2013. And then by 2018, it was 40%, and the whole market doubled. So basically, there's been an explosion in digitally originated loans. And what it does is it helps people understand what's available to them. If you're a business owner, Dom, you'll know this better than anybody else. The number one thing that you're looking at is your cost of capital.
Yeah.
People don't know what their cost of capital is. And the most available thing to them is their credit card. So they assume that that's their only cost of capital. And what we're really trying to do is help people understand what their cost of capital is, i.e. how much it costs them to borrow money. And by making the world of different options available to them, really simple to access and easy to evaluate.
Love it. And so that's how you came up with this idea to start Hearth.
Yeah, that's the short version, as I said.
Short version, yeah. Maybe we'll talk about the long version one day. But that short version has us now at 10,000 contractors across the states who are all sitting at the kitchen table. We've
been totally blessed and really lucky. And, it wasn't always like that. So we spent a good amount of time trying to figure out how to build the right product for contractors. And so, we're always focused on this return on investment figure. This is, really what we stay up at night thinking about and, what we guide our meetings around. Because like you said, I mean, what we're trying to do is strip away all of the barriers to people just doing what they're good at and doing what they love.
Yeah.
And today that's financing. And tomorrow, that could be payments. That could be taking care of your insurance. That could be helping you, get money for your business in terms of credit. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity, and we're just at the very beginning of it. But I'm really proud of the financing product we built to date.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and, as I said, people download the how to find and fix your profit leaks in your cabinetry business off my website all the time. But I've now got to go back and update the document to add in this financing option, because like I said, getting that money in the door for a business owner, you mentioned it. I'm not a bank. I don't want to personally finance that kitchen. I want to get the money right away so I can go build the next one and pay my staff and buy a new edge bander and all the things I need to run a healthy, strong manufacturing plant. But I can't do that if I don't have the cash. I'm strangling my business. And so if I can offer things like this to help people make the decision to buy and then put another job in the shop, I can keep moving forward and go get the next deal.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree with you. And that's exactly our philosophy internally.
Yeah. Wonderful. Anthony, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, I guess they do it through me right now.
You're the guy, Dom.
I'm the guy. Okay. So folks, if you want to get in touch with Anthony or you want to find out more about Hearth, I'm somehow affiliated now with Hearth, and I'm proud to be so, because I want to make sure you guys have the financing you need. So shoot me a text message at 604-837-8361 and let me know that you want to talk about financing, and I'll make the introduction there to the loans manager at Hearth to make sure you get everything set up. So reach me at 604-837-8361, or you guys all know the email address. It's dr@cabinetmakerprofitsystem.com. I'll make all the intros to Anthony's team, and I've dealt with lots of them. They're all great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any final thoughts for us as we go out there and go to rule the world as cabinet makers?
Well, look, I mean, obviously, I hope everybody's doing well in light of these crazy times, and I'm hopeful that our technology can be helpful. Otherwise, we have a lot of other products coming down, and we'll find some way to help everyone grow their business and succeed.
Yeah. Yeah, just as you said that, you reminded me that when you mentioned that I send the application to the homeowner before I show up, that's part of the social distancing and selling remotely package, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we call it know before you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get somebody financed without even stepping into their kitchen.
Yeah, or not, and then don't step into their kitchen. Don't waste your time.
I won't say that, but it's a good solution.
I will. I hate it when contractors waste their time with looky-loos, tire kickers, people that are beating them up over, the smallest things. Everybody on here is a serious business person trying to grow their business, and when they get beat up for nickel and dime things, like break out the labor for just the return and the kitchen. You can't run a business like that. That's not the right kind of customer for us. So one of the components of having the right customer is the ability to pay.
I'd say it's maybe the most important component.
Wouldn't it be? Yeah. So, we always talk about these things. And again, people see this in the downloads: budget, need, timing, and trust. Those are the four things that people need to make a buying decision. Budget, there has to be the money to do it, or it can't happen. There has to be a need. Like, you have to need a kitchen. You have to need a vanity. You have to need a built-in. You have to need whatever it is, or they wouldn't be interested in talking to you, right? So we've got budget, need, timing. Why does it have to happen now? I mean, these are the basic sales questions that we go through when we talk about making a sale. Like, why do you need this vanity now? And asking a homeowner that question really sets them back on their feet. But you also get to find out some neat information. And it's always the fun stuff, Anthony. It's like, oh, well, we thought we'd renovate the bathroom downstairs. Yeah, why? Why do you need it now? Well, we have some guests coming. Well, who's coming? My mother-in-law. Oh. And then you can see their mind firing. It's the one who said I was never going to be good enough for her daughter. And I'm going to show them we got a great downstairs bathroom for them to come and so there's the timing has to be done before the mother-in-law shows up. I apologize to any mother-in-laws listening. And then the other one's trust. I have to be able to trust you. And again, if I'm providing financing, that's a trust element, because for my company to be able to provide financing, obviously I've been vetted by a financial institution such as yourselves.
Absolutely. No, look, I agree with all of that. And I would say actually one advantage to our product that I think is why we've been able to get so many contractors so quickly is that we can work with any contractor. So where a lot of businesses say you had to have a couple of years in business, you have to have a couple $1 million in revenue. We work with lots of contractors that are one or two people or who just got started.
That's the economy that drives the country. And it always gets overlooked because the government's always bailing out the big automakers, but the actual big employers in the country are always the people listening to this show, the little guys. 1 to 50 employees. That's what drives the country.
I totally agree with you. I mean, that's part of, I've seen a lot of companies get started, and I have a lot of friends who are building interesting companies, and none of them are building companies in the home improvement space and focused on our type of people. But I think this is really where there's the most opportunity, because so much is happening in technology that's, that if you package correctly could really help small businesses all across the country grow and succeed and compete, especially as it gets tougher and tougher to compete with the big guys.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lifetime of opportunity ahead of us, Anthony. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to learning more about this and helping contractors have this as a tool, because we need it.
Appreciate it.
All right. Have a great day, Anthony. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Take care.